Welcome to Wellness Made Easy, where Larry Logsdon joins Dr. Bob Martin, host of the largest syndicated health talk show in America, airing on over 500 stations. In today's episode, they tackle a condition affecting millions: heartburn, acid reflux, and GERD. Are prescription drugs really fixing the problem, or just masking it? Could a natural remedy found in tropical fruit deliver real relief? If you or someone you love struggles with stomach acid issues, this conversation could be a game changer.
All right, we're going to turn our attention now to a condition that a lot of Americans are suffering with right now on an ongoing basis, and they don't know what to do. They feel shackled to the drug companies because without the drugs that they provide, their lives would be in shambles. They would be miserable. I'm talking about heartburn. I'm talking about acid reflux. I'm talking about GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. All these are the same deal, pretty much. We want to help extricate you from that. And the reason for that is that millions and millions of people, and our special guest is going to tell us how many and how bad it is, and then also the problem associated with it and what to do about it, the solution. So if that's something that you want to find out about, if you or somebody you know has any of these conditions, heartburn, acid indigestion, this GERD condition, stomach problems, and you're looking for a way out of it without hurting yourself, maybe our guest has the answer to that. So the topic is how to safely and effectively solve these stomach disorders. And our special guest is Larry Logsdon. He is a functional food researcher specializing in the medicinal properties and benefits of exotic fruits. Larry founded Tahiti Trader Noni Juice Company in 1998. I invited him on the program. He's a prolific researcher on these various topics we discuss on the show on a regular basis, try to find the foods within nature to help solve our problems like our ancestors used to do before pharmaceutical companies were even thought about. Before the petrochemical industry rolled out pharmacy, we had in nature so many of these ways to help ourselves out. And that's what we're going back to, it looks like. And that's a good thing. We always need drugs, of course. They can save lives, but they can also take lives. And when you have a benign self-limiting condition that will be alleviated or remedied by something safe and natural and without side effects, wouldn't you want to know? Well, that's exactly why we offered this topic to you today, and we invited him on the show. With that, let us welcome Larry Logsdon to the Dr. Bob Martin Show. Good day to you, Larry.
Good morning, Dr. Bob. How are you doing this wonderful morning?
I'm doing fantastic. Hope you are too. Let's jump right into this, Larry. Now, I mentioned GERD. People may have heard about that. I mean, gosh, if you turn the boob tube on for 5 minutes, you're going to probably hear or see a commercial about some indigestion or some commercial of some sort related to stomach disorders because they're so prevalent today. So let's do this. Even though most of these topics, acid reflux, heartburn, GERD, they're all somewhat related. But what is GERD? Can you just lay out what does that stand for? What does it really mean?
Well, Dr. Bob, it's gastroesophageal reflux disease. That's what they call it. And it's a situation where the body's putting out too much acid and creating heartburn and all the discomfort that goes along with that.
And I think the drug companies demand that it become complicated in order to keep sending those checks to doctors who are treating it. I mean, we just can't call it like sour stomach like they used to in the old days, or I've got acid indigestion. Let's make something up. Let's put something out there. Geez. Okay. So how common are these kinds of problems with the acid reflux and the heartburn, the GERD, Larry?
Well, my research shows, Dr. Bob, that at least 20% of Americans, maybe more, because not everybody will report it, are suffering from this problem. That's a lot of folks, Dr. Bob.
Are we talking about adults here, Larry, or what are we talking about?
Well, not just adults. It's actually going down into children as well. And it's really a crying shame because they don't know what to do about it. They don't know what the cause is. And so they go crying to the doc. The doc says, oh, yeah, I got some of these pills here. Go ahead, take these and you'll be all fine. But as we both know, those
Doing exactly what they're supposed to do. I mean, that's what a doctor does, is help the suffering patient with in the best means that they know how, whether it's a pharmaceutical drug or whatever. I don't fault them for that. They're doing exactly what they have learned to do. Now, we're talking about 20%. What is that? That's got to be like 70 or maybe 80 million people in the United States. If you're talking 20% of the population, I can just quickly do that in my head. Am I so far off on that? 70 million, maybe?
it's higher than that. That's how many are reporting. It's higher. It's much, much higher because about half of folks never report it. And they instead they go to the pharmacy and get an over-the-counter product saying, oh, I hear this will work. And you'll see that those are the most prevalent products being sold are the ones for, acid reflux problems.
I don't fault people for looking for relief. I've never, knock on some wood, I've never had acid reflux or heartburn or GERD myself personally, but I know a lot of my own patients have had it. A lot of people I know have it. It's tortuous. It's like hell on earth because it's like that. The symptoms that they describe, which are all over the board, which we're going to talk about here, are they destroy your quality of life. But Larry, what causes GERD? Is there a sentinel or a primary cause, or is it a mixed game?
It's a little bit of a mixed game. Some is caused by hiatal hernias. Some is caused by eating your food way too fast. Some is caused by sitting too long. Some is caused by just eating the wrong kinds of foods. There is a lot of reasons why people come up with this problem, Dr. Bob. It isn't any one thing, it seems.
Yeah, and I think that people, they look at symptoms as a problem. Symptoms, ladies and gentlemen, as harsh as this may sound, are your best friend. They are telling you somehow, some way, kind of like an idiot light on a car,
Yep.
signaling to you that your engine is about ready to blow up because you don't have enough oil in there, so it's blinking at you, or you don't have enough water in your engine, and your engine will blow up, overheat, you'll be stuck out. Symptoms are there to protect you. It's your body's alarm system. And it should alarm you to say, what is causing this? How did I get here? Rather than simply paint over it like termites, put frosting on burnt cake, and kick the can down the road with having to deal with it again because you didn't solve it. That's what we want to do. We want to solve it. We're talking about how to safely and effectively solve stomach problems, particularly the problem associated with acid reflux and heartburn, otherwise known as GERD, which stands for gastroesophageal reflux disease. A lot of people, millions and millions of people, are taking these drugs for these conditions, for which the drug never fixes the problem. It only relieves it, which means you're shackled and controlled by the pharmaceutical companies. Glad that you don't have to suffer as much if they work at all. But look, your body is giving you information, and you need to pay attention to it, saying, hey, every time you do this, I will give you that, which means you'll get the signal, the symptom. It could be, instead of laying down after a big meal and then getting heartburn, you go out and take a walk for maybe 1 to 3 miles. Or if it continues, you get checked for an organism that is often involved in this acid reflux, like H. pylori. It's a bacterium that could easily be handled. Or you just change up your lifestyle in some manner or another. All right, back with us is our special guest, Larry Logsdon. We're talking about how to safely and effectively solve stomach problems in general. What are the known risk factors? I know that you talked about the hiatal hernia, which a lot of people have, for which medical care cannot help. However, chiropractors and naturopaths and massage therapists are able to fix hiatal hernias by a simple stretching maneuver massage on the abdomen area, and then counseling them on not eating for at least 3 hours and not lying down on a full stomach, all of that. But are there other known risk factors of GERD that can be stated here, Larry?
Well, I think one of the big issues is that there are a great deal of obese people who are just carrying way too much, and it applies pressure to the abdomen, which then pushes up the stomach and gets into these problems are what come from all that. I think that's probably the biggest one that I see. There are some also that come from people that are just way too anxious, and you'll find they'll have a GERD problem also. But generally speaking, if you eat good foods, like whole food we talk about here on the show, you're not going to have these problems. It comes from the lousy foods, and you're shoving too much into you at one time.
Yeah, would that be the SAD diet, the standard American diet, which is why this drug category is booming? And maybe people, if you change that up, maybe switch over to a more Mediterranean style diet, maybe your body will give you that relief, and maybe you won't need all the drugs you're swallowing. And by the way, Larry, are there medications or pharmaceutical drugs that can actually set this problem into motion and actually create acid reflux or create heartburn?
Well, there's a variety of problems. I mean, people who are taking basically these are antacids, and these create all these problems. We can also find the problem will come from taking too many pain relievers. That'll get you going too, because they'll start to burn a hole in your stomach, and it's an ongoing thing, folks. You really want to stay away from all the things that are not natural.
Yeah. And so many times we see patients with these, not only do they get the heartburn, the acid reflux, they get this weird cough because that acid is refluxing all the way up their esophagus and spraying up into their lungs, and it can cause sinus problems.
Right.
It can also mimic chest pain and other treatments. Now, Larry, you obviously are an expert in this field, and prior to this interview, you and I discussed an amazing anecdotal case of an individual that you know about, a guy by the name of Dan Jones, 75-year-old person who has suffered greatly with heartburn, acid indigestion, GERD, who relieved his problem by finding in nature the cure in the form of Noni Juice, which was an amazing thing when I listened to it. And I asked you to send that to us so that we can play it during the show. So I'm going to ask my producer, co-pilot of the Dr. Bob Martin show behind the scenes, doing all the heavy lifting over there, Phil, to play the interview, Phil, of the interview that Larry had with Dan Jones. Go.
Hello, is that you, Dan?
Yeah, that's me.
Hey, it's Larry over at Tahiti Trader. I heard that you've been using our stuff for a while.
Yes, I actually started with Tahiti Noni many years ago, and I had really great results because I had severe acid reflux. And ever since then, I've been taking it. And then I started buying your brand sometime several years ago. It's a better cost. It's as good a product, I think, and I get the good results too. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. You started drinking Noni Juice because you had some acid reflux, huh?
Yes, GERD, which was I had very severe GERD.
Really?
I've been in the emergency room numbers of time with it, and nothing helped me. No over-the-counter, no prescription drugs. And a nurse told me about Noni Juice, and she said, try that for your digestion and for everything. And it was the first thing that actually stopped it. And I tried everything. And, and that was about 25 years ago or longer. Yeah, I've been drinking it that long.
Wow. I've been drinking it a while myself. I started in about 94, 95. I started drinking it because I was making it for, well, a lot of folks. And so that's how I got started.
Making it. Oh, well, I feel honored.
Shannon mentioned that you also do personal training.
Yes, I do.
Guess you're not a young fella anymore either.
I'm 75. Don't take any kind of prescription drugs, don't have any major ailments, going on. But I think the Noni Juice had a lot to do with it because I drink it every single day. And, I think it's been a big part of my supplement regimen. Hey, I get energy from it. I know the antioxidant's good. Keeps my blood pressure in check because I don't have high blood pressure. All of those things, I think it's contributed. Yeah, definitely. And my acid reflux completely eliminated. That's why I drink it every day. So anytime I have any, just acid indigestion or reflux, I just drink the Noni, and within a very short time, it takes it away. Yeah, amazing to me.
Wow, what a testimonial there, Larry. That guy could be like a poster boy for Tahiti Trader Noni Juice. I have this feeling like, because there are so many people, Larry, that have this problem, that have acid reflux, heartburn, GERD, and that they're going to be running for somewhere to find it. So I want to give them the opportunity to know how to obtain Tahiti Trader Noni Juice, and that is through finer health food stores, ladies and gentlemen, nationwide. You might recognize some of them: GNC, Whole Foods, Sprouts, or you can go to the website for more information, TahitiTrader.com, TahitiTrader.com, or for further information, just on a phone call, you can call their toll-free number over there at Tahiti Trader at 800-842-5309, 800-5309, or TahitiTrader.com. Also, and Larry and I worked this out before the show, Dr. Bob Martin show listeners are going to get a special, enjoy a very special price. Not available. You can get their branded, get their branded shot glass for an easy measuring of taking Tahiti Traders, and their new book out entitled Building an Amazing Immune System, $19.95 value, free for Dr. Bob Martin listeners. The topic is how to safely and effectively solve stomach acid problems, heartburn, which makes people highly miserable, or GERD. Some people know it as that, is gastroesophageal reflux, which just means the content of the stomach, mostly the acid, is refluxing or moving, ascending up through your stomach into your esophagus where it doesn't belong and beyond, causing all kinds of gnarly and nasty symptoms that make your quality of life very low. Well, we just found out, based on that amazing testimonial by Dan Jones, a 75-year young individual who had chronic acid indigestion, heartburn, and tried everything medical. I'm talking about over-the-counter, even prescription drugs, no result. Even ended up in the emergency room. It was that bad for him. And a nurse, if we only had more nurses like this, Larry, and a nurse recommended that he try something in nature, something simple, something easy as a fruit juice that you may or may not know about, called Tahiti Trader Noni, available at stores everywhere. And he did that, and his problem was solved. Boom. And perhaps you might want to consider that, especially if you look at, Larry, these H2 blocker drugs, some of the more common ones on the market, like Tagamet and Pepcid and Axid. You look at some of the side effects that people are subjecting themselves to, including liver damage, gynecomastia, which is the equivalent of man boobs from taking these drugs, Tagamet, Pepcid, Axid, perhaps, headaches, diarrhea, the list goes on. Then how about these proton pump inhibitor drugs? They're also very common that doctors prescribe for GERD and acid indigestion. We're talking about Nexium and Prevacid and Prilosec and Protonix. When you look at the potential adverse side effects of those, and I used to teach on this around the country, bone fractures, if you take them for 5 years or more, you can just basically be standing and your femur breaks and then you hit the ground. Kidney problems, increased risk of infections, cardiovascular disease. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're not telling you not to take these drugs that I just mentioned. We're just telling you that you need to be the buyer beware consciousness going on in between your ears, so that you know that every time you swallow a drug, I don't care what it is, it has the potential to generate at least 70 adverse side effects. And we hope you're not having them, but what if, just what if, in nature, you were to take a shot or three of Tahiti Trader Noni Juice in a given day for your problem, and suddenly that problem went away, and Larry Logsdon becomes a hero in your life, which I think in the case of our friend over there, Dan Jones, that I just met by virtue of this tape, he's a happy camper with you, I suspect, Larry.
Absolutely, Dr. Bob. Here it is, folks. Nature provides almost every solution you can ever imagine. This is one of them. And Noni juice is an amazing thing. It really enhances your digestion. And in this case here, it really helps to monitor what goes on in your stomach. In this case, the ranitidine, which is the problem, it's running crazy. It helps to regulate that. And so that regulates your heartburn. Hello, folks. This isn't rocket science. What I do recommend, though, keep it simple. Get yourself a couple ounces of Noni juice, put it in 4 ounces of water, drink it morning and night, and watch this thing go bye-bye.
Now, I want to make sure people know there's a difference between the therapeutic form of noni juice, which is called the island style. You taught me this, Larry, which, I mean, it's not like drinking orange juice or apple juice. It's not sweet. It acts sort of like a little vinegary. But Liz, let me tell you something. If a person's got acid reflux or heartburn or GERD and they're suffering, they're going to take this without any problem whatsoever if they can keep from taking pharmaceutical drugs, which puts them in the crosshairs of all kinds of really bad adverse side effects over the long haul. Don't you agree?
I agree 100%. The thing about it is these drugs that they want you to take, they only solve the problem for a very short time. It's just the symptom. The reality is you need all your stomach acids working properly, and that's what the problem is. Allow the noni to help you heal and get your body back in the kind of condition it needs to be in anyway. You're going to feel better. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, what do you have to lose besides the suffering you're doing with taking, as a result of taking the Tahiti Trader Noni Juice? All right, so you want to obtain it. You can find it at finer health food stores nationwide, or go to GNC or TahitiTrader.com, or they've got a special offer to Dr. Bob Martin's show listeners. Get one of their branded shot glasses for easy measuring when you pour out your Tahiti Trader Noni Juice, and their book, Building an Amazing Immune System. That's a $19 value. For listeners who order the Tahiti Trader Noni Juice at TahitiTrader.com. I'm Dr. Bob Martin. Our special guest, Larry Logsdon, is with us. He's talking about a way to help naturally resolve stomach acid and heartburn and GERD. Now, we're not telling you to stop drugs here. That's a decision you'll have to make, or make in consultation with your pharmacist or doctor. What we're just saying to you is that if you change some things up and maybe insert something that nature has provided, and we're probably going to find out exactly why it solves the stomach acid and the GERD and the acid reflux someday. But today, at least, we know that there are people who are swallowing 1 to 3 ounces of Tahiti Trader Noni Juice each day and say goodbye to that stomach problem. You can find Tahiti Trader Noni Juice at GNC, Whole Foods, Sprouts. You can also go to their website at TahitiTrader.com, TahitiTrader.com, or call their toll-free number at 800-842-5309, 800-842-5309, and do take advantage of the Dr. Bob Martin Show special, where you can get a free shot glass, a branded shot glass, to easy measure out your Tahiti Trader Noni Juice. So you're going to take 1 to 3 ounces of that a day, and they're going to give you a book entitled Building an Amazing Immune System. That's a $20 value. The shot glass is probably priceless. And it's free for Dr. Bob Martin listeners when you order Tahiti Trader Noni Juice. All right, Larry, what are some of the other things quickly here that people can do to just help themselves prevent acid reflux and heartburn and that disease?
Well, one thing is, like, wear some looser clothing. That takes a lot of stress off the stomach. Start right there. I would also ask you to get away from fatty foods, salty foods, spicy foods. Those just really aggravate things for you, folks. Keep it as simple as possible. Get away from chocolate and peppermint and the carbonated drinks. They all make it worse as well. You got to go back to eating natural foods, simple things the body wants, not this stuff.
Yeah, I think you're just listening to your own body. I mean, if you eat a meal and suddenly you get a symptom, say, well, what did I just do? And how do I avoid that the next time? Just avoid it and keep a diary and just eliminate that. And sometimes process of elimination. But in the meantime, why not get some relief by taking a shot or 3 of Tahiti Trader Noni Juice, available at finer health food stores nationwide? Do take advantage of getting a branded shot glass for measuring it out when you're drinking it, and the free book, Building an Amazing Immune System. I mean, those two are valuable. Those are available at TahitiTrader.com. Larry Logsdon, thank you so very much for joining.
Thank you, Dr. Bob.
Thanks for being with us on Wellness Made Easy. For more tips on living your healthiest life, follow us on social or head to TahitiTrader.com. Stay informed, stay empowered, and take your wellness into your own hands.